Hi, Steve here. Welcome to this tutorial on Racing Price Monitor Percent Bot. This is the third product in the RPM range, the RPM original monitoring software, which we released nearly 5 years ago. Then we have the RPM bot, which we released last year, and then this year now the RPM percentage bot, which is working on percentage of drift or percentage of firming, and that is how the bot places its bets. So if we just look at this race that's on the screen here at the moment in Albury, depending on the settings is how the bot will bet. So for example here we've got the T1 time, and as we're on back 4, I'll just come over to back 4. So the T1 time is 12 minutes. So what's happening is the bot got these prices in the T1 column 12 minutes before the start. And then the betting time is 30 seconds, and that is when these prices, the TO prices, were booked in as what the horse was doing. So if we look at all the moves, 12 minutes out it was at 60, and now it's at 220. So you can see the percentage of the drift here is 266%. If we look at Luna Mojo, at 12 minutes it was $4, and it's still $4 just before the jump. So this movement is zero. So it's neither a firmer or it's neither a drifter or a steamer. That's why the end there is neutral. Super Nick was at 5.6 and now it is a 5.2, so it's 7.14 percentage. It's a steamer. And Ocean Reef Road was to 23s and now is a 1950, so 15% steamer. Now, if we come over here to the settings, we can see here we have to go down and see what selections it's going to be. Now, in back 4, here, the only horse we're interested in is the favourite. So the favourite here is Bombardin, and we can see that is at 3.55. Now it's at 4.3, so it's not actually the favourite now. The favourite is Luna Mojo at 4. Well, the thing is, it must be a price movement of minimum 10%. Well, we can see it's moved nothing, so it hasn't moved any percentage. So that means back 4 in this race, and Albury will not have a bet. Okay, so there's no qualifier. If we go to Scone, the next race, we can see here the favourite is I Am Brave. It's gone from 2.18 to 1.95, movement of 10%. So it's moved as much as we needed it to. However, it fails in the minimum price. The favourite, in the minimum price we're looking at, it's got to be between 2 and 41. Well, that's ridiculous. It's just there so we make sure we capture everything. But obviously the favourite is not qualifying because it's now at 1.95, so there's no bet. Okay, so our settings, you can see there, we have a favourite minimum and then the minimum price and maximum price. Because this is the favourite, it would always have to be within this range here. But in fact that the horse has not even reached 2, then it's not going to be a bet. You'll soon find out exactly how it works. That's why I recommend, you can see there we've got only low stakes, and that's because while you're learning how to do it, it's best to collect results and then have a look at them and then move from there. Okay, so let's go to the setups. Now I've got auto reload unticked. That's solely because I want to show you some results and that. If I have auto reload ticked, every half hour or so it reloads the races and the old races that have been dropped off, which is not what I want to do to show you in this video. But in the real world, have auto reload ticked, show the market ticked. Show the market ticked is so that if you click on the market there, it's showing here. And if we look at a race that's coming up, hasn't been yet, here we can see here it's got the live prices as it's happening. This is 3.5 minutes from the start. And there's nothing in here yet. We don't even get the T1 prices recorded yet until such time as we've collected the T0 prices. Then we have the percentage. So right up until whenever we've got this ticked, if we go back to race 1 here, go over to back 1, let's try and keep this relevant. That's the venues. So you can eliminate, you can untick venues. If you untick venues that you don't want, then you must have auto reload unticked, otherwise it will reload them again. Okay, so if we go to a race that's coming up, Townsville race here, we click on sort, it'll bring the favourite up to the top. We don't need to see these for the bot to work. We don't need to have show the market tick if we don't want to see what's happening, okay? But as you can see, because we're still not at the 30-second mark, then there's nothing filled in here. Everything is neutral until that. We'll come back and have a look at that in a couple of minutes and we'll see what's happening. So that's these rows along here show us, we click on them to bring the races that belong. So if we want lay 1 there and we're looking at lay 1 here, then we must have lay 1 over here as well so we can see exactly what it's referring to. Okay, this is that same race in Townsville, but it's a little way off. Werribee race has already been run and won, so we can see there. Because this is lay, we still always look at the green ones, unless we've changed it from drifter to steamer in the lay. At the moment, we're looking at the drifters at a 20% market movement in the last, from the 12-minute mark to the 20-second mark, and we can see here. So we're looking at any horses that are. So we look at Landgrave there at 22.73. It's not applicable because obviously the odds range is not between 2.5 and 4, so it's not a bet for us. And of course, the bot does all these bets automatically. You don't have to scout through and do the betting. So we have the software manual down the bottom. If you click on that, it'll take you to the help guide in this video. That's the Betfair help button. And then up here at the very top, we have the settings. We have all current bets. There's no current bets at the moment. Cancelled bets. And we have the results for going forward. And we can export these results anytime we need to analyze what's happening in the field, what's happening with the settings and the different bots. Okay, and then up here we have 1 to 10. These are what we call our betting staking tabs. Okay, so these tabs, because we only use from 1 to 3, iGroup, then these other ones are blank. And you can see here the tab being green means we have a current bet in, and we get spirit of giving is the current, it's a back 4 bet. We can see the match price is 2.6, and we can see that it was 12 minutes out, it was $3. Now it's at 2.46, and that's a steam of 13% on Giving Spirit. And then we've got another one now, a back 3-1, and we can see that that's coming 1.55. That is a market mover as opposed to Spirit Giving, which is a price mover. So we've got 2 horses in there. One's in the market movement, one's in the price movement. Okay, and this is a summary of the tabs, the back 1, back 2. So you can see here in lay 2, 4.61 is how much profit we've got. On tab 1 in lay 2, lay 1, we've got 1.45 profit in our tab. Okay, so we go back to settings. So here is the current, this is a new bot I've just loaded up yesterday. Here's current performances so far. This is our Betfair availability and our Betfair wallet and how much is available. We only use small amounts when we're testing bots because if something, obviously a bit of coding is wrong, we don't want to lose hundreds of dollars because we're still bench testing it. So that's why we use low values when we are testing. And you can see that in the settings that we're running very low prices like 10p or 10 cents, whatever prices, whatever staking you put in here is to your currency. So if you put in 10.10, it's dollars, it's cents if your account's in dollars, and pence if your account is in pounds. So we've talked about this here, this only comes up if you click on the race. So if we just go back to that Townsville race, where are we? That Townsville race we were just looking at, and go to back. Back. Okay, the race has been run, and we can see there. This is back 4. So the favourite. Where's the favourite? The favourite here on back 4, because it's the favourite we would have backed would have been Giving Spirit, because it's between 1 and 4. It's at 2.6, and the minimum price is between 2 and 40, and we can see it's there. So I would say Giving Spirit, because we know, looking up here in our results, Giving Spirit was our bet. It lost, so we had a loss there, and Keep Running, which was in back 3, was a loss. Okay, if we look at the next race, is quite a way off. So Aubrey, let me just do a sort. And Aubrey, this is still nearly 10 minutes away. But just keep in mind, these prices won't show until such time as we reach the TO settings. Now, how do we set the bots up? Okay, so if we go to back 1 here, we have got the countries that we can use: Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, Ireland, South Africa, USA. If you click others, this will bring up others like France, etc., whatever other meetings Betfair has got. You will find that some of these settings work better in some countries than others. So you may have back 1 setting for Australia, and then you may have back 2 maybe for Great Britain, and be just slightly different than the settings you've made for back 1. But you can see in those strategies we've got in the owner's manual, in the user guide, how they go for different countries. In the lays, we have found that Australia, Great Britain and Ireland, we put the whole 3 together, so that this is stop at a winner or stop at a loser staking. So we find that these 3 countries can be all put together because their returns are similar, and we don't find any problem with them all being together. But you may say, I don't want Ireland, so you may untick it. So whatever countries you've got ticked, they are the countries for the bot to use. In back 1, you can see there I've got Australia and Great Britain, but I would recommend, if you're going to use these settings, that you would run them separately if you're going to be using the source staking. If you're using level staking, then sure, you can run them together. We're going to use 3 of the betting tabs up here. So 1, 2, 3. Now what happens with the staking tabs or betting tabs is that once a race goes into there, so 30 seconds before the start, the bet will be placed in tab 1. Okay, and it will stay there until such time as it has been declared, the result, and Betfair have paid the money. If by any chance the next race starts and that race still hasn't been cleared, then tab 2 will come into fruition, and we can see there's all our tab 2 bets. So all these bets have arrived when tab 1 is still busy. Okay, so obviously on a busy race day, you may want more than 3 tabs. If we go to tab 3, you can see there we've had, over the last week, or a bit more, we've had 6 bets placed on tab 3. It's just a way of making sure that you don't miss any bets. Market to bet on, we can bet on win or we can bet on place. If you come to place, I'm just going to be careful because we've got, this is active bot, we've got 2 to be placed, 3 to be placed, 4 to be placed. So you have to tick at least one of them if you're going to use the place. But we're on the win, and then we have this setting for when is the bot going to register the race. So in this one here, in our back 1, we've got 12 minutes out. it's going to look at the whole field and record every price. If we go to a log, for example, we'll just go to the log file. We can see here for example, if we look at York here, you can see there, see it goes through and records every horse and the price. So that is the starting point. Okay, and then as the race approaches, then it will look at the the time at say 20 seconds and record that, and that's how we get our percentage that you see here. Okay. So we're going to be 12 minutes out, and betting time is we're betting always bet pre-play, and we're betting 30 seconds. So the T0 time, the T0 price is this one here, and that's taken 30 seconds before the official off. Okay. And then the criteria and staking. Well, in this case here, back one, we're using the first favourite. Okay. So the first favourite is what we're looking at, and we've got it ticked so it's a single bet. Okay, if there's two equal favourites, it's only going to take one. The price movement is what we're looking at. Now, this is the price movement of that horse from the 12-minute mark to the 30-second mark. If we have market movement, it's the price, it's the movement of this horse in relation to the whole market, which is very different, and it's explained in the user guide. Now, obviously, if you're backing, the tradition is you back the steamers. But if you want to have a contrary position, which I'm testing, it's going, okay, it's making money. It's I'm having a drifter. So if the horse drifts by 20%, and I'm backing it in the back market, even though the price has drifted out. Okay. But that's the option you can have. But the steamer is the normal natural option. And the steamer means if the price has moved from 20% or more, then we're going to be looking at backing the horse. Level staking, I've got that ticked, and we're going to be betting 10 pence or 10 cents per bet, regardless. Okay, now level staking is very hard, as you will all know, to make money on. And the strategies we've got below, all but one of them is making money on level staking. However, you may want to look at changing your staking on a daily basis or from afternoon racing to night racing. If you wanted to use something like the back 1-4 staking, whereas on day one you back one stake, £1, and then if you've made a profit the next day you stay at £1, or if you haven't made a profit the next day you go to £2. If you make a profit at the end of the day that covers the day and the day before, then you drop back down to £1. But the back 1-4 staking is something you may want to look at. The other choice you have is the SAW one, which is stop at a winner, which is target betting. So if I had that ticked, for example, and we had one there, that means our target is to have, when we have a winner, we make £1 profit. So if we have three losses, and we have a win after three, we still make the £1. But in this case, because in the profit delta here, we've got 20 cents, that means after our first losing bet, so we're trying to win £1, we fail. Our next bet, we're trying to win the £1 plus the stake that we lost, so we may have cost us 20 cents to try and win £1. So we've got to put that 20 cents in there, and then we've got the profit delta of 20 cents. So our new target is £1 profit, the 20 cents we lost on the first bet, and the 20 cents extra. So we'll be looking at making £1.40 on the next race. Okay, so that's what the SAW staking is. It's loss recovery and it's target betting. Then we have the minimum price, maximum price. Now, because we're using the first favourite, obviously we've got the first favourite must be 1 to 10 before to look at. So really, in all honesty, we change that to 2. And this would be, say, 5, because it's basically because it's If the first favourite is between 2 and 5, then we're going to have a bet. So that we have the minimum price and the maximum price, 2.5. If we had this as a different horse, like any horse, for example, then we may want the minimum price of the favourite from 1 to 5, for example. We don't care. We may want, doesn't matter if the favourite's odds on, as long as it's between the top price that we have here, the minimum price, which is for the selection. The favourite price is for the favourite of the race. So if we had it set at 2 and 5 and the favourite is at 1.5, it wouldn't look, regardless of what the qualifications are, it wouldn't go any further. Okay, so you've got to work out, if you're not using the first favourite, then the minimum price and maximum price, this top line one, comes in, providing the favourite odds are matched. Okay. Right, the minimum runners, well, really should be 5. Maximum 25 is the maximum you can go to, but you may only want to bet between 5 runners and 14, for example, then you would put 14 in there. The commission here is at 5%. Now, this commission is important to work out the stakings. Because we've got Australia here, we change that to 8%. Mexican wave, we don't use it, but I know clients that do. Mexican wave means if we've got our 3 tabs up here, the first bet will get bet on tab 1, and then even if tab 1 is available, if we have Mexican wave ticked, it will go to tab 2, and then tab 3, and then revert back to tab 1. So Mexican wave just means it goes from 1 to 2 to 3, back to 1. If we had 10 of them ticked, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4. It would just move to them and then come back. But we prefer to use tab 1 wherever we can, except if it's busy. So that is Mexican wave. Minimum amount matched, I've got here 20,000, and this is in your currency. So because my account's in Australian dollars, that means if the race minimum for the win market is 20,000 or more, then the bet will get looked at. If you're dealing in the UK and you want similar results to what we're getting, you would make that 10,000, because that would be pounds, which is equivalent to about 2,000 Australian dollars. Play in action, you can either get the bet, so the bet might get fired in and some of it might get matched, and you can leave it as keep to try and get the rest matched, or you can have it as a cancelled. It will cancel either the whole bet or the balance of it if this race starts and it hasn't been completed, or you can place it SP. So initially the bet will try and get the figure, and if it can't get the figure and the race starts, it will take the SP price. But we just use it, leave it at keep. Stop at a profit each tab. Well, if you wanted to set a profit for the day, say you wanted to win $10 or £10 a tab, then you would untick this. By having it ticked, it means that it just keeps rolling over. So if it makes the profit, then it will continue again. Okay, if it makes the profit, it will continue again. All tabs means if you, all the tabs here for this one, if they all total up to a $10 or £10 target and you have that unticked, back one would stop betting for the day. But once again, as I said, we have ours ticked because we want them to roll over. Stop loss each tab, so we've got 100. So this means that it will get to 100. If it gets to 100, it will stop and restart, because we have continue with restart. Or if we have this ticked, it would restart. It would continue without restarting, and we don't recommend you use that because you can lose a lot of money. And you have this other one here. If you want the loss to stop after, say, 10 losing bets, then you can have 10 there. If you don't want that there, just put in 999. And this means this will kick in and this one here won't have any effect. Allow for non-handicap. So if you're in the win market, you can have that ticked, and allow for, non-handicap or handicap. So they're pretty, if you have them both ticked, they'll look at every race. And if you want to bet harness as well, then you have picked the harness. Once you've set all this up, then you tick start, and then back one will be ready to go. Back two is just the same, and you change the settings to what you want back to. Now, I recommend that when you set these up, take a screenshot of these and save them. So if the bot crashes, which will happen, say if there's a forced Windows update or your computer shuts down or crashes, it will you may lose these settings. So if you've got a photograph of them, it's easier. But when you close the bot down at the end of the time of betting, if you're not running it 24/7, use this before you hit this red cross. Make sure you stop each of the bots that you have running. So essentially, we have these are 6 mini bots. Okay, so stop each one that you've got open, then close the bot, and then everything will be saved. All these settings will be saved. Okay. Clear, if I click clear, this will clear these boxes along here. It doesn't clear the ongoing totals. Okay, so they are safe unless you come up here and clear them across here. Okay, the log file, which we just touched on before, this shows you exactly what's happening. You may want to say, how come I didn't get a bet, say in Werribee? How come I didn't get a bet? No suitable horse to bet on the market. It will tell you why. It'll tell you why here, why it's not been bet. Now these, even if you don't have logs ticked, this log is recorded on your hard drive where the bot lives. Okay, so you can always go in there and have a look. If I just show you, okay, so that's pretty much it. As I said, start small staking so that you can learn why and what happens. If, for example, we just come in here back to any horse, if we have this unticked, for example, it can bet more than one horse. If we have it unticked and we've got a minimum movement of 20% to 100%, and we have 3 horses and they fit between the range of 3 and 20, then I'll just change that here. 3 and 20, then it will place 3 separate bets because we've got level staking. It'll be betting 10p or 10 cents on the 3 horses that qualify. Okay, so that's if you have single bet unticked. It will bet any horse that does qualify. Okay, this has gone on a bit longer than I would have liked, but however, play around with it and you'll soon see what it can do, and you'll find other avenues to use that we haven't thought of, and we welcome any thing that you're having great success with to share with other users so we can put on the user page. So thanks for watching this, and we wish you all the best with RPM Percentage Bot. On behalf of Michael and myself, happy punting. Cheers.